Hi, this is the second card we made in my class this month. I'm still using the Fern and Flora dies because they're so pretty to make a nice cluster with. So I'm going to start by embossing with the textured tree ring embossing folder. Pull in my big shot. This is a 3D folder, so you need the specialty plate. And I chose to go with the sort of bullseye kind of there. I liked how that looked. So I will stick it in my embossing machine and run that through. And see how cool that is? So I'm going to set that aside. And then I'm actually going to do a little bit of die cutting right away before I do my stamping, just to get some of my pieces. Just because there's a lot of pieces and I wanted to at least get some out of the way because they're not going to all fit at once. Okay, I'm using Granny Apple Green for the big, no, that's Garden Green for the bigger one and Granny Apple Green for the smaller. We'll just run those through. They're fairly detailed. Sometimes they take an extra run or two. I'm just gonna do it to be safe. And I chose not to put adhesive fully on the back because, again, I like having them pop up. So here is the first one, and they're very delicate. Oh, and there's the second. It popped itself right out. Okay, I'm going to move this for now, and I'm going to start stamping. So I've got 3 different items, really. The sentiment, this little fern, and then the 3 butterflies on the 3 different pieces. So I'm going to start with the little fern on the smaller of my white sheet pieces. And I'm using Garden Green. And if you wanted, you could add some Winkostella to it, and that would make, like, color it in with the Garden Green. I just decided to leave it not colored in. It's personal choice. Next, I'm going to stamp my sentiment. And I've put some Memento ink into a white ink refill or ink stamp pad that comes empty. And this sentiment is also from the Fern and Flora stamp set, or this sentiment. And I like to do my sentiment with the foam one, but I like to do my butterflies with the felt one. So it just depends on how much ink ends up on them. So I'm doing 1 of the big ones and then 2 of the small ones. And I want to give enough room in between so that I can at least die cut 2 of the butterflies at the same time. Okay, I think I've already gotten ink on my hands. Oh, now I'm going to bring this back in. I'm going to start with the sentiment, and I'm using one of the banners from Stylish Shapes, one of my favorites. And I'm trying to center that. And don't forget angle. Now this one is hard. I find this one challenging to line up. So I'm trying to line it up with the bottom leaves and so that all of the leaves are poking in. So there we go. And then 2 of the butterflies. Do the big butterfly here, and these are close also. I might have to get my head in the way. I'm sorry if I do. They are really, really close. And then I'm gonna need another new piece for the little one. We'll do this one over here. Okay, that looks pretty good. Now we're gonna run those all through. Okay, so we have our sentiment. And we have our stamped fern. Well, that came out pretty good. And then we have 2 of our butterflies. Whoop, trying to fly away. There's that one. And a really big piece of tape. And whoop, another one flying away. There's that one. Now I just need this last little small butterfly. So we'll line that up and die cut it. And there we go. Now we can put our card together. So for my card, oh, you probably can't see that, got a little dark. I put on the embossed panel right on my card base. And then this is a 1/8 inch strip of Barely Blush because I like how it's more flush. You can do your embossed panel on a 1/8 inch bigger piece of Barely Blush. Wow. But I don't know. I don't know if you can tell, but it's got so much more depth there. And here, I like the little strips of 1/8 inch, but it's not for everyone. I understand. So we're going to assemble, and because it's embossed, it's possible that it's no longer 4 by 4, but 4 1/4. So we might have to trim the bottom. First, I don't know if you have that, but there's always one side that there's more of a lip on it. I like that on the front. Okay, so I'm going to put this on with liquid glue. I think it holds better on embossed pieces, and I don't like my cards falling apart. I'm gonna line it up with the top and the right side. So the liquid glue does definitely help for that because it gives you a little bit more wiggle room. Okay. So maybe I should have done that and then stamped for you. Now I'm going to run just a thin line of glue on the side. And that is where I'm putting this tiny little piece. And I made it longer than the card just so that I could easily cut it off. So there's that. But down on the bottom, I'm actually gonna bring in my guillotine because there is a little extra of the embossed piece. So I'm gonna line that up and trim it flush. So there we have our card front. And I like to start when I'm building a cluster with my sentiment, and I'm popping it up on dimensionals so that I can tuck all of my leaves behind it. And let's see, I'm gonna kind of center it on the barely blush line. Got a little bit of extra from my fondness for running it through twice. I end up getting little bits on the edges. Now I'm going to start with this one, and I'm just going to apply some dots of liquid glue on probably the lower half. There, so then it's stuck down, but it's still able to pop up. And I'm going to stick it there. Make sure it stays in the card, yeah. Next, I'm going to put down this one. I'm putting this one more in the center-ish. I'm gonna bring a block in to hold those down. This one's much easier. It's got a lot of back. So I'm gonna put some glue on it and then tuck it off to the side there. Gonna leave that on for now. Going to, for my butterflies, I like to have the wings come up. So I turn them over and then use my thumb and my bone folder, whoops, to curl them some. I don't know how it survives in the mail, but at least it looks cute when I'm making it. So all three of these, gonna curl their wings. And if they're big enough, I have also put little pieces of dimensional, so then they stay up. But I'm just gonna add these with some liquid glue. Okay, there's one there. I'm gonna put the big one up here. And then this little one over here. And I'm gonna put on some jewels. Got some pearls for here. These would probably look really cute if you colored them with the Barely Blush too. I didn't think of that till now. So I'm gonna put 3 on, one of each size, approximately. Are there only 2 sizes? Maybe there are only 2 sizes. So we'll put 2 sizes on. I like it around the sentiment. And then I'm gonna put on some Wink of Stella. I forget about this, but butterflies make me think sparkle. And so I am going to put some on my butterflies. It'll be hard to see in the photos, but you'll be able to see it better in person. So the person who gets this card will get to see all the glitter on the butterflies. So there we go. That's the second card. Thanks for joining me.